Cheshire has many jewels in the crown, and one that is starting to shine extra bright is the partnership of Jennie Candlish and Alan O'Keefe, who last year enjoyed quite the time of things, including the brilliant Skyjack Hijack notching up a sequence of victories. No doubt big things are expected from the team over the course of the next few months, and I've come to find out a little bit more. You haven't always owned the stable, but you do now, so how did that happen?
No, we haven't always owned it. It was one of our long-standing owners, Alan Baxter, owned it initially.
Skyjack Hijack owner?
Skyjack Hijack, yeah. And then he wanted to sell it, and then kindly we were able to buy it off him. And he's still a long-standing owner with us now, and has been a great supporter of me for many, many years. And has also obviously introduced new owners. So it's nice, and it just felt like coming home. My parents are just the next farm, but one up the road, and it's just nice, really. So yeah, so now it's nice and it's home again, really. Absolutely,
yeah. And here come the horses now. So they've done a bit of work, haven't they, just now?
They've just done a bit of work, yeah. They're just going to go and do another canter. And like you say, we can do with them what we want when we want. And for the staff, like I say, we've got acres over the far side, so they can go and have a canter on the grass. They're not always on the all-weather all the time.
Well, I think that makes a big difference as well, able to do switch between the two.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can do that.
No, and I think it's just, we kind of use the tools that we've got, and like even with some of the flat horses with the sprinters, to just go and have a wander around the farm on odd days, go on the grass and just get different things. It just keeps their mind happy as well.
Well, that's the thing, because you hear about horses like, I'll bring up Constitution Hill.
Yeah.
Being tried over sort of banks and in the woodland to try and keep his mind interested.
Yeah.
Is that a kind of similar thing? No, obviously not the same exactly, but to try and keep them interested. Is that a big thing for you?
Definitely, and I think it's like, I know we treat them like, well, I do treat them like humans. Different things, you can just switch them on. So some like the same thing, some like the same routine, don't change me. But a lot of them like changing things and doing different things. And I think, especially when they've been here season after season, you can just then think, right, okay, well, let's tweak things a bit differently. And it keeps their enthusiasm going as well. And for the yard itself, staff-wise and everything, to do something different on a day, they love it.
The partnership works well, you know. Obviously Jennie loves being with the horses and that, and you know, I free time up by dealing with the owners and going racing majority of the time, you know, and it works that way, you know. I think it's great that owners have someone there to speak to and pick the phone up, and if they've got questions, which works well. And yeah, you know, the race planning has been a great side of it. I think when horses are in form and you know, they're fit and well, and you know, as long as the owners are on board, I think to keep them going, and they've held their form fantastic. And you know, Skyjack Hijack's been great. You know, he looks like this is people's favourite, the way he does things, and he just jumps and goes, you know. And you know, it's a shame he picked a little injury up, but you know, he's going to come back, and we're looking forward to getting him back, you know.
So Jennie, we're alongside the horse that's made your yard that little bit more famous, Skyjack Hijack. Yeah. What a star he's been.
Oh, he's been fantastic, and fair dues, he's just done nothing wrong really, and I think put us on the map a little bit, so yeah, he is. He's star of the yard at the moment, I think.
So how did you come about him in the first place?
Literally, Alan found him at the sales and bought him from the sales with obviously no great dreams or anything, looked nice, looked lovely, and then he's just literally been fantastic. Really good, so he's just progressed and progressed, so hopefully he can keep doing so.
And did you always think he had that in him?
He just seemed a bit special. He did seem a bit different, but if I just said he was going to do what he did, I would be lying. But he'd always kind of just give us a, you know, great sort of belief that he could go and do something like that. But when he went and did it, it's great. So yeah, it was just lovely to have him, really.
And he couldn't stop winning for a while, could he?
No. And he literally just, the more he went racing, the more he wanted to go racing, and he just thrived, really. So yeah, he was just he does love his racing, really.
And I think we all thought going to Cheltenham that he had a very good chance to win that Albert Bartlett trial, but obviously he picked up an injury, so that wasn't his true running.
No, and I think it was nice to have an answer as to why it wasn't his true running, and just to give us an answer to think, had he hit the heights and he was just, you know, that was as good as he was. But I think what was proof is that obviously we come back and knew he got a little injury, so who knows, there could be a bit more to come, hopefully.
And there's no doubt that jumping is his main asset. I mean, he's so slick, isn't he?
Yeah, and loves it. And I think when you watch him jump, he just is one of those special ones that sort of, he's a pleasure to watch. I'm sure he's a pleasure to ride.
And when he comes back from injury, I know that you're going to go over hurdles again, but there is a potential future in chasing for him, isn't
I think so. I think he's kind of, when he ran in his point-to-point, he jumped really well. And obviously, if he gets to his ceiling over hurdles, he'll go chasing. And I think the boys are more excited for him to go chasing, really. So it's definitely on the agenda.
How do you approach the buying side of things? For example, Skyjack Hijack, Classic Maestro. How would they come into the yard in the first place?
Well, yeah, look, you know, we haven't got massive budgets, but, you know, we go to the sales, we look at horses maybe that aren't winning Irish Pint of Pinters because obviously they're telephone numbers, whereas, you know, these, you look at the replays, we go through them, and, you know, he showed a lovely attitude in his Pint of Pint. He jumped from fence to fence, he finished third. And actually, a funny story with him, he was slightly lame when we bought him. Something happened to him travelling across, and you know, that's probably why he was, you know, as cheap as he was. But then you take chances, you know, you have to take chances, and this one's worked out, you know. And Classic Maestro, he'd had 2 or 3 runs in Pint of Pints. I think he pulled up once, but again, another one that I seen, he just jumped out in front, and they just had nice ways of going about them. I think if you get horses that are genuine and can jump well, you know, jump is the name of the game, and you just have to look through the replays and go through it and divulge it, you know.
As far as the gallop's concerned here, it's very steep.
Yeah.
And it must get them pretty fit.
And I think it's kind of, you don't realise how versatile it can be, because we've trained everything off it. And we've literally, I know we've got the fields and everything, but we've trained everything from 5 furlong sprinters to 3 mile chases. We've trained, but it is, what's nice is it's just because it's so steep, you don't necessarily have to go that quick, and gets them to relax, gets them to breathe better, and so we're quite fortunate. The gallop's a big plus, really.
How often would you kind of move them onto the grass and then back here?
They'd just mix and match a bit, really, wouldn't they? They just depend. Like most of the work's done on here because of the weather as it is at the minute. But if we want a day on the grass, they'll go over to the far field on the grass and things like that. But the most of it is done on here.
Yeah, they all seem pretty happy.
Yeah, they seem so.
Well, I've never seen so many smiles as I've seen on the face of the staff this morning.
Hopefully, keep them all.
They're having too much
happy.
fun, Jennie.
Yeah, to be fair though, they do. They thrive on it, and that's what you want. I think, like I say, if they're happy, horses are getting love, they're getting happy, and you just think, and then when they get success, they all go out and celebrate.
Well, that's
just
the thing.
Same. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, I think but that's a really important part of it, isn't it?
Can't do it without them.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's
You've got to be able to let your hair down when the good times come along.
Yeah, and like these, they deserve it. They work really hard. They support me, whatever I'll say, do this with something, do that with a horse, or this with a horse, and I can tell sometimes they probably scratch their head and think, what on earth? But they'll go with it because I think, you know, they believe in me as much as I believe in them, and it's just a team that you think if you keep building it then, and they're part of it, they need to feel a part of it. To be just a number, or just come and do this and go, or just come and do it. I just think they all need to be a part of it and need to believe and love horses like we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's the big key.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And you say you pinch yourself doing this yourself as a trainer. Do you pinch yourself at the success you've had the last couple of years? Definitely. Yeah. I didn't think that it would sort of, like, this season's just been magical. And I think it's the fruits of the fact everything's coming together, that you've kind of, everything that you've worked for and you've dreamt that might happen is now happening. But obviously now it's a bit more pressure to keep it happening all the time. But no, it's been... It's good pressure though, it's what you want, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And you thrive on it. Do you know what, you wouldn't change it for the world. But yeah, this season's just been really good. And nice to have the split, jump horses and flat horses. It's not that you think, well, suddenly I'm just good at training sprinters, or I'm just good at training chasers, or I'm just good at training this. It's just, as a team, we seem to have ticked all the boxes at every angle, really.
And that's the medium you want to continue going down, both codes?
I think so, definitely. And I always say this to Alan, he'll let me know, oh, there's a horse arriving this afternoon, so whatever comes through the gate then.
Let's go and have a look at Probe, shall we? Because this is one of the horses that really first started you off here, isn't it? Yeah,
he sort of started me off on the flat, and his owner sadly is no longer with us, but he had a belief and got Probe, and it was great. So yeah, he started us off on the flat, and he's just been great, and a great story, really. So his wife still owns him, and we've hopefully got some great days with him. But yeah, to win those races and go to the likes of Epsom and Ascot, and dream, really.
And you need horses like that to put you on the map in the first place, don't you?
You do, because you can't, unless somebody believes in you and gives you that opportunity, and getting horses like him from the sales and coming and then actually doing the job is lovely, and it's nice to be able to show that, yeah, we can. We're not one-dimensional. We can have jumpers, we can have flat horses, we can do all that. But I think it's nice as well to be part of the journey to to enjoy him, and for him to be so successful was just magic.
He looks like he's got a lovely temperament.
He's got a great temperament. He's really good. He just chills out, goes and lights himself up at the races, and then goes back to sleep, really. So he's just a special horse, really.
It's a barn of stars, isn't it? Because next up we've got Classic Maestro, who's been
We're
a real
getting
improver.
more stars.
You're getting more stars.
Getting
yeah.
more stars.
A real improver, though, hasn't he, for you so far? And I think he's a really good advertisement for what you do here, in terms of the fact that you do tend to get horses that progress beyond low marks.
Yeah, and they can, cause obviously they come and I think it's every trainer's dream to try and get them and sort of keep progressing with them and keep enjoying them and keep them in one piece, keep them healthy, keep them happy, and I think happy, healthy horses win races, and he's proof in the pudding, really.
Do you think there could be more improvement to come?
I'd like to think so. I think he's just, like you say, this year he's been busy, so he's going to have a holiday now.
He's off 1-3-4 now?
Yeah. So he'll have a holiday, come back, and hopefully he can keep tipping away and winning some of his chases. But he's exciting, because I don't think we've seen everything he's got yet, which is lovely. So I think there's more to come for sure.
Another decent jumper as well.
Yeah, jumps really well, really enjoys it. And he's versatile track-wise, really. So yeah, he's exciting.
What's his temperament like? Looks a little bit
more
less
cheeky,
calm.
a little bit more cheeky, but quite good, aren't you, really? Lovely to ride, just a bit more cheeky, aren't you?
Are you a stats man? Do you keep an eye on the figures?
We do, yeah. You know, as I said, a friend of mine, you know, brought it to my attention about 18 months ago. You know, I think a lot of owners now look at stats, you know, and I think running horses for the sake of it is no good. You know, you can keep throwing them at the wall, but you know, I think put them in the right races, do things right, and you know, at the minute the stats are working, and I think it's a thing going forward that people are looking at. You know.
Now that you're getting sort of more high profile, do you find it's getting a little bit easier to compete with some of the bigger guns down south, or how are you finding it at the moment?
I think, you know, you before you were drawn into maybe afraid to go down and take on the bigger names, but you know, as I said, the likes of horses like, you know, when we used to have a lovely horse across Cannon, Peter Clark owned him, you know, he went down and I rode him in a World Hurl, you know. We should have learned them days that we were able to go down and take them on, you know. And now, like with Skyjack Hijack, when we went to Exeter, you know, Paul Nichols and other trainers like that, you know, I think you just can't be afraid to go and take them on. If you think you're good enough, have a go, you know, and it's worked, you know. It's done well, and you know, we didn't have anything at Cheltenham this year, and we'll work towards it. But I'm a big believer in, I'd rather not be there making numbers up, you know. If we think we're going there to have a chance, you know, and I think that's the way you have to look at it.